ਸਤਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀਓ। ਤਿਲੰਗ ਮਹੱਲਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ। ਆਨੜੀਏ ਮਾਨੜਾ ਕਾਏ ਕਰੇ, ਆਪ ਨੜੈ ਘਰ ਹਰ ਰੰਗੋ ਕੀ ਨਾ ਮਾਣੇ। ਸਹੁ ਨੇੜੈ ਧਨ ਕਮਲੀਏ, ਬਾਹਰ ਕਿਆ ਢੂੰਡੇ। ਭੈ ਕੀਆਂ ਦੇਹ ਸਲਾਈਆਂ ਨੈਣੀ, ਭਾਵ ਕਾ ਕਰ ਸ਼ਿੰਗਾਰੋ। ਤਾਂ ਸੁਹਾਗਣ ਜਾਣੀਏ ਲਾਗੀ, ਜਾ ਸਹੁ ਧਰੇ ਪਿਆਰੋ। ਆਣੀ ਬਾਲੀ ਕਿਆ ਕਰੇ, ਜਾ ਧਨ ਕੰਤ ਨਾ ਭਾਵੈ। ਕਰਨ ਭਲਾ ਕਰੇ ਬਹੁ ਤੇਰੇ, ਸਾ ਧਨ ਮਹਿਲ ਨਾ ਪਾਵੈ। ਵਿਣ ਕਰਮਾ ਕਿਛ ਪਾਈਐ ਨਾਹੀ, ਜੇ ਬਹੁ ਤੇਰਾ ਧਾਵੈ। ਲੱਭ ਲੋਭ ਅਹੰਕਾਰ ਕੀ ਮਾਤੀ, ਮਾਇਆ ਮਾਏ ਸਮਾਣੀ। ਇੰਨੀ ਬਾਤੀ ਸਹੁ ਪਾਈਐ ਨਾਹੀ, ਭਈ ਕਾਮਣ ਆਣੀ। ਜਾਏ ਪੁੱਛੋ ਸੁਹਾਗਣੀ, ਵਾਹੇ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਬਾਤੀ ਸਹੁ ਪਾਈਐ। ਜੋ ਕਿਛ ਕਰੇ ਸੋ ਭਲਾ ਕਰ ਮਾਨੀਐ, ਹਿਕਮਤ ਹੁਕਮ ਚੁਕਾਈਐ। ਜਾ ਕੈ ਪ੍ਰੇਮ ਪਦਾਰਥ ਪਾਈਐ, ਤੋ ਚਰਣੀ ਚਿਤ ਲਾਈਐ। ਸਹੁ ਕਹੈ ਸੋ ਕੀਜੈ, ਤਨ ਮਨੋ ਦੀਜੈ। ਐਸਾ ਪਰਮਲ ਲਾਈਐ, ਏਵ ਕਹਿ ਸੁਹਾਗਣੀ। ਭੈਣੇ ਇੰਨੀ ਬਾਤੀ ਸਹੁ ਪਾਈਐ, ਆਪ ਗਵਾਈਐ ਤਾਂ ਸਹੁ ਪਾਈਐ। ਔਰ ਕੈਸੀ ਚਤੁਰਾਈ, ਸਹੁ ਨਦਰ ਕਰ ਦੇਖੈ, ਸੋ ਦਿਨ ਲੇਖੈ। ਕਾਮਣ ਨੌ ਨਿਧ ਪਾਈ, ਆਪਣੇ ਕੰਤ ਪਿਆਰੀ। ਸਾ ਸੁਹਾਗਣ ਨਾਨਕ ਸਾ ਸਬਰਾਈ। ਐਸੇ ਰੰਗ ਰਾਤੀ ਸਹਿਜ ਕੀ ਮਾਤੀ, ਅਹਨਿਸ ਭਾਏ ਸਮਾਣੀ। ਸੁੰਦਰ ਸਾਏ ਸਰੂਪ ਵਿਚਖਣ, ਕਹੀਏ ਸਾ ਸਿਆਣੀ। ਐਸੇ ਰੰਗ ਰਾਤੀ ਸਹਿਜ ਕੀ ਮਾਤੀ, ਅਹਨਿਸ ਭਾਏ ਸਮਾਣੀ। ਸੁੰਦਰ ਸਾਏ ਸਰੂਪ ਵਿਚਖਣ, ਕਹੀਏ ਸਾ ਸਿਆਣੀ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, today's ਪਾਵਨ ਪਵਿੱਤਰ ਹੁਕਮਨਾਮਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ, blessed to us from Sri Sachkhand, Sri Harmandir Sahib, is on Ang 722. It's in Tilang Rag by Dhan Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Sache Paatshah, Ab Chal Neev Dhari Guru Nanak, Nit Nit Chade Savai. That Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Sache Paatshah Ji, that laid down these foundations that are firm, that will remain until eternal. Sangat Ji. So let's embrace the words of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji, what they are saying to us today. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji is talking and referring to somebody as an Iani. Sangat Ji, Iani can be translated to somebody that is foolish. But foolish not in a way where you're putting somebody down and saying foolish to them. Somebody that is foolish in such a way that is trying to do the right thing, but just isn't quite getting there. From outside, they're trying to make things right. They're trying to do what is said to be right. But yet that connection from inside is not there. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji Path Ji is calling out to that one. Is calling out, and then here they've used the metaphor of a soul bride and a husband. The soul bride, Sangat Ji, as they've used the example of a wife and a husband. But it's actually referring to our soul, our inside. This Jeev Roop Istri, being like that bride, and it's talking about that Pati Parmeshwar, that Vaheguru Ji, that is like that husband for that loving bride. But often enough, many of times, Sangat Ji, what happens? What happens is that even though there might be a bride, there might be a bride that wants to make her husband happy, but she gets caught up in doing those things that actually make her happy. She gets caught up in doing those type of acts for her husband that is actually more about her than it is actually for her husband. But the whole game, Sangatji, sometimes when we use these examples of husband and wife, and the wife pleasing her husband, and one time sometimes we even get comments on people getting upset, saying that why does it always have to be about the wife having to please her husband? Sangatji, it's not about that. This is about our internal journey of us uniting with our husband, Lord Vaheguru. So what we are doing, Sangatji, I'm here as trying to be a servant of Guru Sahib and translating as Guru Sahib has explained it to us, the metaphors they have used. So Sangatji, don't get stuck in that little box and get caught up in the examples. Go beyond that and connect to where Guru Sahib Ji is actually taking us. So there's many of times where a wife gets caught up in actually doing what she wants to do for her husband, and it's not actually what the husband wants, and it's not what's actually pleasing to the husband. So Satguru Ji Path Ji say to us, kende iyanadi. Iyanadi, Sangatji, comes from the word iyani. Iyani ਜਿਹੜੀ ਭੋਲੀ ਹੋਵੇ, ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ ਜਾਚ ਨਾ ਹੋਵੇ. Iyani is that one that doesn't know how to do something well. So Path Ji saying here, so ਇੱਥੇ ਛੋਟਾ ਵਿਸਰਾਮ ਲੱਗਣਾ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ. Sometimes ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹਦਾ ਪਾਠ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, when we do the part of this Bani, we read it so fast and we just say iyanadiya manana kai kare. But no, ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਇਹਨੂੰ ਪਿਆਰ ਨਾਲ ਇੱਥੇ ਵਿਸਰਾਮ ਲਾ ਕੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਪੜਨਾ. So you call it, so say it to yourself. So you're actually talking to your inner self, and you're saying to yourself, you're saying, iyanadiye, saying, oh foolish bride, Bisram, and then say, manada, ask the question then. Ask yourself the question. Saying, manada kai kare. Manada, Sakhi means when somebody is filled with pride, somebody is filled with arrogance. Arrogance means when they think that what they do holds the most importance out of anything else. Arrogance is when they're not actually bothered and care to look at anybody else, when they feel their importance is at the highest. That's what matters the most, is what they are doing. So Sangatji, Path Ji saying, kende manada kai kare. So what that means is pride of what? Of doing what? Meaning that you might be carrying out doing different types of religious practices. That yes, you might be doing things on the outside, and whatever those rituals are. And Sangatji, I don't want to start naming any rituals, because, and that isn't, Sangatji, when we say these words rituals, don't start thinking, oh, Hindu practices, or what such and such practice do. No, as Sikhs as well. That could be some of the religious practices, the rituals that we actually carry out as well. So Sangat for example, I use one example just so that, I don't like Sangat to just leave them guessing. So one practice that we've got is a ritual that we carry out. So remember that a ritual, even though the word itself's got a negative connotation around it, but no, ritual can be very heart-filled. It could be filled with devotion, a particular ritual that we carry out. But it could become empty as well, depending on our own self. Sada man kithe hai. But one ritual we do that is very important, very beautiful, we do matha tek. We bow our head before Tan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Sache Paatshah. So for example, that could be somebody's practice, somebody's ritual. And it doesn't mean we're not to restrain ourselves from rituals. Rituals are there to connect us, to devote us. But Paatshah Ji is saying there's times when it can become empty for us. When actually there's no love inside of our heart. And then what happens is, just because of the particular ritual that we carry out, and that could be that somebody is making food in the name of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, somebody that brings a thal to Guru Granth Sahib Ji, somebody that makes langar and does ardas in the name of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. That is a ritual. But for somebody they could get caught up in that and actually forget about their inner journey of having that love, that devotion from inside, and then they start becoming prideful about that. They fill their mind with arrogance of like, oh, look what I do. Look at this ritual that I carry out. They might not express that in words, but they could get caught up in that within their own minds and within themselves. Somebody could get caught in their mind of thinking of, look, main kinna karda, or look how much I do, or fulana to kuch karda nahi, such and such doesn't even do this. And then they start to feel so great about themselves. Unnu kende hankar maan. Hankar aa janda for the ritual that we're actually carrying out. Sometimes we've got to be so careful. Those very same sevas that we say that is going to bring humility inside of us, somebody could be washing the dishes. But if the frame of mind isn't there, that very act, that very ritual could actually fill our minds with hankar, with this pride of thinking that I'm doing something so great. I'm doing something better than such and such someone else. At least I'm doing this much. And then ਉਹ ਪਤਾ ਕੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਮਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਖ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਇੰਨਾ ਕਰਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਆ ਕਰਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਉਹ ਕਰਦਾ, and then they put that in their mind to say, look, I do this much, I do that. But Paatshah is calling out to those that now for the actual rituals that they are carrying out, they fill their minds with arrogance for that ritual they are doing. Paatshah is saying here ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਆਨੜੀਏ ਮਾਨੜਾ ਕਾਇ ਕਰੇ ਆਪ ਨੜੈ ਘਰ Har rango ki na mane. Paatshah is saying, kende aap nada. Aap nada means apne, our own. Aap nada kar. Kar Samit ji means obviously literally means house, but they're referring to the house of our heart. Apna dil kende aap nada kar. Kende within the house of your heart. Kende uthe tat kende tusi har rango. Har means Vaheguru, Rango means love, Har, the love for Vaheguru. Har Rango ki na mane. Mane Sangat means you didn't even experience. Mane means experience. You haven't yet experienced the love of God from inside. Sangat that was the most important part. So whatever ritual we're doing, we want to do it consciously, and so that our heart is filled with love and not Sangat hankar, not with arrogance. Somebody might not even be carrying out any ritual, but they just sat there. Their eyes are closed, but their heart is filled with love. Sangat whose ever heart is filled with love, no matter where they go in life, that's all that they will spread. There could be one person carrying out a ritual for 3 to 4 hours a day, but the heart hasn't filled with love. That heart had still got hatred inside of it, frustration inside of it. When that person has finished doing that ritual, they haven't opened their heart for it to be filled with love, didn't focus on the actual essence of going inside. No matter how much rituals they are doing, and then when they go off and they're amongst other people, they will spread that what is inside of them. They will spread that hatred. Doesn't matter how many rituals they've done. But they might have pride, but mata inna karke aaya. Look what I've just done. But I've at least done this much. I do part for 2 hours. But the heart is still dry. This journey was about inside. This was about where we reach inside. Apna dil kinna ka pyar naal bhar gaya hai. ਇਹ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਸੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ, you've not experienced that love for God? Asking us that question. We should ask ourselves this question. Is my heart filled with love? If it is, other people will feel it too. Then Pacha ji ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸ਼ੋਹ ਨੇੜਾ ਹੈ. Shoh means your husband. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pacha saying, you know that husband, that Waheguru Ji, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ it's so close. ਸ਼ੋਹ ਨੇੜਾ ਹੈ. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਧਨ means wife. ਧਨ here meaning our soul bride, our soul. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਧਨ ਕਮਲੀਏ. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ oh you crazy wife. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pacha is saying, remember this is talking about us. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਧਨ ਕਮਲੀਏ ਬਾਹਰ ਕਿਆ ਢੂੰਡੇ. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ why are you searching outside? ਕਹਿੰਦੇ why are you looking around outside? Meaning you're looking for that. You're actually looking for love in your heart for Waheguru, but you end up getting caught up in outside pleasures. You start to look for that from outside, from things like food, your cars, your houses, your children. We start looking for it from outside. But ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸ਼ੋ ਨੇੜੇ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਲੱਗ ਗਿਆ ਤੇਰੇ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸ਼ੋਹ ਨੇੜੇ ਧਨ ਕਮਲੀਏ ਬਾਹਰ ਕਿਆ ਢੂੰਡੇ. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ why are you searching from these things that are outside? ਕਹਿੰਦੇ this is what Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pacha says. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ this is what you need to go inside. Because it's a question, isn't it? ਹੁਣ ਸਵਾਲ ਹੋਇਆ ਨਾ ਪੈਦਾ. ਆਪਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ, ਜੇ ਬਾਹਰੋਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਜਾਵਾਂ ਅੰਦਰ? ਮੈਂ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਉਸ ਪਿਆਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਂਝ ਪਾਵਾਂ? How am I going to unite with that love? And then we ask that question to Guru Nanak Dev Ji. We say, Guru Ji, mainu rasta dikhao. Guide me how to go inside and experience that love. And then Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pacha will say, Pä kiyan deh salaiyan naini. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pacha said, what you need to do is, you know, just like for this world, somebody gets some mascara and they line their eyelashes. And they line here their eyelids with that mascara so that they can look beautiful to the world. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pacha is saying, I want you to look beautiful as well. They said, how do I want you to look beautiful? They said, this is how. They said, I want you to get the mascara of what? To get the mascara of fear, of this immaculate, beautiful, pure sense of fear. And I want you to apply that to your eyes of wisdom from inside. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਗਿਆਨ ਦੀਆਂ ਅੱਖਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੁਰਮਾ ਪਾਓ. And that wisdom inside is what will, Sangat ji, this is so amazing. ਪੈ ਕੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਸਲਾਈਆਂ ਨੈਣੀ. Because you know that fear is actually what keeps us in gyan, in that wisdom of Waheguru Ji's existence, that Waheguru Ji is present. You know that, what is that fear? How powerful is that fear of having that fear of God that makes us look so beautiful? How does it make us look beautiful? ਮੇਰੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਐਮਨਾਬਾਦ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ, ਨਾਲ ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਨੇ. Just talking about this fear of what will this fear do to us? How will it make us beautiful? Just to answer that. How will it make us beautiful? And what will it do to our mind? Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah is on the outskirts of Eminabad, which is now in Pakistan. 2 miles on the outskirts of Eminabad city. And Sangat Ji, they're sitting with Bhai Mardana Ji. Bhai Mardana Ji rabab bajaunde pਏ ਨੇ. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji gaunde ne. Bhai Mardana Ji is playing that beautiful rabab. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji singing. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਰੋੜੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਨੇ. They sat on pebbles. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਭਾਈ ਗੁਰਦਾਸ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਬੜੀ ਭਾਰੀ ਤਪੱਸਿਆ ਕੀਤੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਨੇ. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ such penance. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji sat in jungles on stones singing the praises of Vaheguru Ji. But this is in Sangat Ji 1521 when Babur invaded India, and Babur had actually come. He was the first Mughal emperor. And when he came and invaded, when he came to that place of Eminabad, he had sent out all his prison guards and officers to go out and go and see if there is anyone that you see that is practicing a way of life that is other than Islam. If you can go and see anybody like that, if you go and see any saint who is referring to themselves as saint, go and capture them, go and bring them and imprison them. And they went and they came across by Mardana Ji and Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah. They arrested Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah by Mardana Ji, and in that place where they got arrested, that place is now, there's a Gurdwara Sahib, they call Rodi Sahib Gurdwara. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇੱਕ ਬੋਝਾ ਚਕਾਇਆ ਸਿਰ ਉੱਪਰ. They got Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji whole bundle of weight to lift on their head whilst they were walking towards the prisons, towards the jails of Babur. But pyareo, we cannot even comprehend the energy that of Parmeshwar Roop themselves of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji. Aap Narayan Kala Tar Jag Mein Parvariyo, Nirakar Akar Jot Jag Mandal Kariyo. Jot Roop Har Aap Guru Nanak Kahayo. That energy, that Parmeshwar Roop energy of Vaheguru Ji that is vibrating from Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah. They say those that had the eyes to see, when they saw Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji walking, the guards were in front of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. They chained them, taking him to the prison. But passerbys that were seeing that there's a saintly man that's been arrested, but to their surprise, what did they see? That weight that was placed on Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji's head. They said, ek haath kende uchcha saga Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji de sar to. They said that weight, that bundle, was actually hovering about a hand above Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji's head, because that energy of Vaheguru would not let that weight touch Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji's head. But the guards didn't see that. When Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji were imprisoned by Mani Singh Ji Shaheed, right, there was 1100 prisoners there. And they were all made to do hard labouring work. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji nale Bhai Mardana Ji de agge pyareo ek chakki rakhi gayi. They placed a grinding mill before Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji and before Bhai Mardana Ji. The guards looked at Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji and they said, the prison guards said to Guru Nanak Dev Ji, you'll have to now start grinding these corns. You'll have to start turning these mills. Kende chakkiyan, kende tusi aata piyo, hun tusi chakkiyan chalao. Bhai Mardana Ji mere Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah de chehre wal vekhde ne. ਉਹ ਵੇਖਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿਉਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਅੱਜ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਬਾਹਰ ਬਹਿ ਕੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀਗਾ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਬਾਬਰ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਰਾਗ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੜਨ ਦਵਾਂਗੇ, ਪਰ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਨੇ ਉਸ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਉੱਪਰ ਬਹਿ ਕਰਕੇ ਰਾਗ ਪੜਿਆ। ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਪਰਮੇਸ਼ਰ ਰੂਪ ਹੋ, ਮੈਂ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਇਸ ਅੱਖਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਵੇਖੂੰਗਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਚੱਕੀਆਂ ਪੀਂਦਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ, ਇਹ ਆਟਾ ਪੀਂਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਚੱਕੀਆਂ ਚਲਾਉਂਦਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ। ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਅੱਧ ਦੇ ਦੁਖੀ ਹੋ ਕਰਕੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ, they saying to ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ, how will these eyes, you for me are God, how am I going to see with these eyes, you having to turn these mills and you having to grind all of this corn, ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਉੱਚੀ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਾ ਉਸ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ ਉਸ ਜੇਲ੍ਹ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਗੂੰਜ ਪਾ ਦਿੱਤੀ, ਉਸ ਕੈਦ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਗੂੰਜ ਪਾ ਦਿੱਤੀ। ਤਾਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮਰਦਾਨਿਆਂ ਸਭਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਾਲੇ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ, they looked around at everyone and at all the prisoners and they said to ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ, ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਭੋਲ ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਿਆਂ ਸਤ ਕਰਤਾਰ, ਬੋਲ ਭਾਈ ਬਾਲਿਆ ਸਤ ਕਰਤਾਰ, ਬੋਲ ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਿਆ ਸਤ ਕਰਤਾਰ, ਬੋਲ ਭਾਈ ਬਾਲਿਆ ਸਤ ਕਰਤਾਰ। ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬਸ ਇੰਜ ਹੀ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਆ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਬਸ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਤ ਕਰਤਾਰ ਕਰੋ। ਕਹਿੰਦੇ you just recite the name of that Sat, the true ਕਰਤਾਰ, that creator ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ। ਤਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਉਸ ਕੈਦ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਗੂੰਜ ਪੈ ਗਈ, ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ 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 ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। The whole prison is vibrating with the sound of Vaheguru. And Sangat ji, as that prison is vibrating with the sound of Vaheguru, Bhai Maradana ji turned around and looked that Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paat Ji's mill is turning itself. And when they saw this, Bhai Maradana ji's mill starts to turn itself as well. And when the prison guards, ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੇਖਿਆ ਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਚੱਕੀ ਤਾਂ ਆਪ ਹੀ ਚੱਲੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ, ਇਹ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੌਣ ਫਰਿਸ਼ਤਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਫੜ ਕੇ ਲੈ ਆਂਦਾ। They said, we don't know who this angel is that we've captured and brought here. ਉਹ ਡਰ ਕੇ ਦੌੜ ਕੇ ਗਏ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਉਹ ਬਾਬਰ ਦੇ ਕੋਲ। They said to Babur, they said, we've captured someone and he's saying this word out aloud and they're singing something and everyone is saying this word Vaheguru, Vaheguru, and they said they said the mills have started to turn themselves. ਤਾਂ ਬਾਬਰ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗਾ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਹ ਕੋਈ ਫਕੀਰ ਲੋਕ ਹੈ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਹ ਕੋਈ ਅੱਲਾ ਦਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਹ ਬੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ he must be a servant of God. He said, we've made a mistake of capturing him. They said, go and open his shackles and bring him to me. ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਗਏ ਨੇ ਉਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ ਬਾਬਰ ਦੇ ਕੋਲ। ਕਈ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਨੇ ਅੱਜ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਮੰਨਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਇੰਜ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਆ। ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਤਾਂ ਬਸ ਇਹੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਨਾ ਕਿ it's all about ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ji's universal laws, it's all about whatever science has proved that can happen, or even if science hasn't proved but this is outside of Waheguru ji's laws, this we don't believe in miracles. Sangat ji, this is nothing to do with a miracle. Those that say that this is outside of the laws of Waheguru and it is not possible, then they are the ones that are saying that Waheguru ji is limited. Gurbani tells us that Waheguru ji is agam agochar tera, that you Waheguru ji, you are agam, you are beyond the comprehension of my senses, of my intellect. Waheguru ji is boundless. How do we know what's within Waheguru ji's reach? How do we know what Waheguru ji can actually perform and do? If we say that that's outside of Waheguru ji's nature, then we're saying that we know the end of Waheguru ji. No, if Waheguru ji is beyond, if Waheguru ji is limitless, then Sangat ji, we don't actually know what is possible under the laws of Waheguru. How do we know that that's not under the law of Waheguru ji for that to actually happen? Why do we need to call that even a miracle? Why can't we just say, I couldn't see that far, that couldn't be proved yet, but it's all possible. Waheguru ji can make anything happen. That energy can make anything turn. If that energy can make the earth rotate, if that energy can make that earth rotate and it takes 24 hours, it's never out. 24 hours and then it takes 365 days to go all the way around the sun, to orbit the sun. If that energy can make that happen, what's a chakki, Sangat ji? What's a little mill? You think Waheguru can't make that mill turn? There's many of us in this life that may be suffering in some form of way. And we lose faith because the doctors may have told us something. The doctors may have said that there's no cure for this. This is chronic. This is that. But Sangatji, the truth is the doctors are not God. Yes, they have a lot of knowledge then and they're very blessed in what they can help us with. But the truth is, वो रब नहीं है, रब कुछ हो रही है. Under Vaheguru, when we connect to that jodh inside, anything is possible. That what was said is incurable, and that what is said that has no cure, that what people say that is chronic, you will have to live with this pain, with this whatever forever. This is an autoimmune disease and there's no cure for it. The truth is, just because they haven't found that cure, it doesn't mean that there isn't a cure. It doesn't mean that if we connect to that energy that cannot turn. Anything, Sangatji, is possible. Prabhupave bin saaste rakhe. If Vaheguruji wills, somebody can remain alive whilst even when they've got no breath in this body. Prabhupave bin saaste rakhe, pyaryo. Babur said, please forgive me. I don't know what I've done. You are obviously somebody very special that has formed this miracle. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatji said, don't be mistaken, I didn't form any miracle. They said, all I did was we surrendered, and with love we called out to Vaheguru. And they said, and this is the will of Vaheguru. Not outside the will of Vaheguru, this was the will of Vaheguru that turned these mills. I done nothing, Guru Nanak Dev Ji said. Babur said, let me do something for you. Babur said, let me fill your house with jewelry, let me fill your house with precious jewels, with gold, with money, with carts, horses. What can I do for you? Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, these things aren't enticing me. I've left all of this behind for the betterment of humanity. Babur said, then something, they said, I know. Babur said, you know, fakirs like you. He said, fakirs like you, that these renunciates that go into the world and they go and meditate. I've seen them, these that wear these long robes, when they meditate, they consume a drink that is made out of marijuana, and that helps them to go in, to become intoxicated further into that love of God. And they said to Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and then Babur said to Guru Nanak Dev Ji, shall I make this drink for you? You'll feel this amazing intoxication. And this is what fakirs love to do. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatji said, they said, it'll intoxicate me. They said, for how long? Babur said, apparently he said it lasts for hours, it lasts for 4 to 6 hours. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatji says, and then what? And he said, then I'm a king, I'm an emperor, you can have as much as you want. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatji कहने लगे ने बाबर तू रहने दे, मैं नशा एक पीता होया आया. कहने पर मैं इहो जिहा नशा पीता जिहड़ा कदी उतरदा नहीं. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatji said, I'm intoxicated already, but I've taken such an intoxicant where the surur of it, where the intoxication of it, it never goes away. Babur said, Allah, ye kyo ji butti tusi pite hain? They said, what type of plant is that? That where, that's it, you just take it once and forever. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatji कहने सुन बाबर, इशारा किता भाई मरदाना जी वाल. Bhai Maradana ji rabab di tar shedi. Bhai Maradana ji starts to play the rabab, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatji ji starts to sing, Pao tera pang, khaldi mera cheet, paya diwana, ateet Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pachi starts to sing. They said that I'm intoxicated with the fear of God. Sangat ji, when we start to live like that, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਭਾਉ ਤੇਰਾ ਭਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ hey ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ, they sang directly to ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ the fear that I have for you, ਭਾਉ ਤੇਰਾ ਭਾਂ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ that is my marijuana, ਖਲੜੀ ਮੇਰਾ ਚੀਤ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ you know my consciousness remains in the fear of you. Sangat ji, you know when we start to live like that, when we truly start to live in that fear that Vaheguru Ji is watching me, that my mother, my Vaheguru is watching what I think, what I say, that will intoxicate us. That love that my Vaheguru is always taking care of me. That moment that I start to have a thought and start to judge somebody else, I can feel the presence of Vaheguru Ji watching me, and my Vaheguru, my mother, is saying to me, oh, no my child, don't go that route, it will burn you, it will destroy you. And Sangat Ji, in that loving, beautiful fear, remaining intoxicated in that, I remain drunk, I remain intoxicated. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਭੈ ਕੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਸੁਣਾਈਆਂ ਨੈਣੀ ਭਾਵ ਕਾ ਕਰ ਸਿੰਗਾਰੋ. They said, I adorn myself with the love of Vaheguru Ji and living in that fear that Vaheguru Ji, like a mother, is watching me and protecting me from going to that direction that is going to destroy me. That moment I start to slander someone, I feel the presence of Vaheguru Ji watching me, that fear. Sangat Ji, this isn't fear the way you know fear. This isn't that fear where our body goes into survival mode. This is the experience of knowing that I'm lovingly being watched by this delicate, compassionate mother that says, the moment you start to open your mouth in slander, my child, you're going to burn yourself. And my mother protects me and pulls me out. Padshah ji here, they say, Ta suhagan janiye lagi ja shotere pyaro. Then she'll be known as a true happy bride that has enshrined the love of Vaheguru Ji, of her husband, inside of her heart. It's all about what's inside our heart. Sangat Iyani Bali kya kare? And that doesn't mean you don't do the rituals. Then you do the rituals, but then you see the love in it. Iyani Bali kya kare? Jatan kant na pave. What is that foolish bride supposed to do? That childlike bride supposed to do when her jatan kant na pave, when her husband isn't pleased with her? Karan palai doesn't matter how much she begs. Satan mehal na pave, but she's not able to enter the mansion of her husband. Why? Sangat Ji, because she's doing what she wants. She's doing it empty she's doing the rituals but empty, not with the love from inside. Karma kichpaye nahi, but without receiving that grace from Vaheguru. Kende jebo tera tave. But even if we run around so much, carrying on, practicing these rituals, but there's no love in our heart, there's no loving fear inside of us, then we won't get anything without the grace. The grace will only come through when Vaheguru Ji sees that we're doing it with our heart. Lab lob ankar ki mati. But we're intoxicated in the pleasures of the world. Lob, greed, ahankar, in pride, maya mahesamani, and we're immersed in this illusion. Inni bati sho paye nahi. You're not going to get to meet Vaheguru Ji like that. Pei kaman iyani. You are going to remain a foolish bride like this. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜਾਏ ਪੁੱਛੋ ਸੁਹਾਗਣੀ ਵਾਹੇ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਬਾਤੀ ਸ਼ੋ ਪਾਈਏ Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pacha is going to ask that happily married bride, the ones that have met with Waheguru Ji, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pacha ਕਹਿੰਦੇ joke ਚ ਕਰੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ what does she say to you? Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pacha gives us the answer. They say joke ਚ ਕਰੇ ਸੋ ਭਲਾ ਕਰ ਮਾਨੀਏ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ whatever they will tell us, the ones that have met with Waheguru Ji, they will tell us that joke ਚ ਕਰੇ that whatever Waheguru Ji is doing ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੋ ਭਲਾ ਕਰ ਮਾਨੀਏ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ take that to be good. No matter what pain we might be suffering with on a bodily level, take it to be good because it's come from Waheguru Ji's design. It's telling us something. It's talking to us. It's communicating with us. It's Waheguru Ji's daya. It's Waheguru Ji's compassion. Kende hikmat hukum chakaiye. Kende lift that your own cleverness and saying no, it should be like this. No, it should be like that. Jaake prem padarth paiye. Kende jaake prem padarth paiye. Kende when we actually have that love inside of our heart, kende padarth paiye. That's when we'll actually receive the true padarth, the true essence of life will experience then. To charni chit laiye, always remain and keep your chit, your consciousness in the feet of God. Shaho kahe, whatever Waheguru Ji says, so kije, do that. Tan manu dije, give yourself to Waheguru with your whole body and mind. Kende aisa parmal laiye, kende that's the perfume of sandalwood, that we want to have the fragrance of that upon us. Ev keh suhagni pehne inni bati sho paiye. That's the one that have already met with God. That's what they will say to us. Aap gavaiye ta sho paiye. You have to completely give up your ego to be with that one. Aur kaisi chatarai, what other cleverness could we use? Sho nadar kar dekha. When my shaho looks at me and glances upon me, sho nadar kar dekhe, so then lekhe, that day for me is an account, is accounted for. Kama knowneth by, in that way then I receive all the 9 treasures, all the wealth and happiness of this world. Apne kant pyari sa suhagna, those that are pleasing to their husband, Lord Waheguru Ji, kende she is the one that is truly a suhagna, a true bride. Nanak sa sabrai, she is the queen of all. Aise rang rati, those, that one that is aise rang rati, that is imbued in that color of love in that way. Sahaj ki mati, that is completely intoxicated in sahaj and equipoise. Ehne sapai samani, and then day and night remains immersed in love. Sundar saye srup chakhan kahiye sa siyani. They said she is the one that is known as the true Pichakhan, the true wise one, the true clever one. Sangat Ji, may Satguru Ji Pacha Ji bless us. There's many angles that I could have taken of this Shabad, that focusing on the second part, the latter part, which we could do when this Hukamnama comes again. But today, Sangat Ji, I focused on just carrying a ritual out and it remains empty from inside, and that love isn't there. Sangat Ji, let's fill our hearts with love in having that fear inside, like Guru Nanak Dev Ji said to Babur, I'm intoxicated. I'm intoxicated with Waheguru Ji. It's so beautiful knowing that Waheguru Ji is watching me. Waheguru Ji is like my mother in protecting me, not going to certain places that is going to cause me suffering. Let's not fill ourselves with pride for the rituals that we are doing, but instead look inside of our heart. Is it filled with love? If it's not, then we've got to beg Waheguru Ji to fill our hearts with love, not just carry on unconsciously carrying out rituals from an empty place. Waheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji ki Fateh.